let's get to the interview. Are you ready?
Yeah, no, that's what it's called.
This is an interesting one from Lori. And this is part of what our business, like our business background, we used to do radio show together. And we didn't get let go from Virgin Radio. We left.
Yeah.
Wanted to leave. But Lori says, why do radio and TV stations, quote, let go of hosts without any warning? And I think it's a great question.
Very valid question. Yeah.
And the reason they do it is, so back in the day, pre-social media, kids, the idea was they kind of like if you watch The Real Housewives, if a cast member leaves, they don't even acknowledge them.
Nope.
They just move forward.
They want to keep it going.
The reason that they don't want you, unless it's a good situation, like we got to say goodbye. That was a really, really great, hey, we've come to the end of the road here. But, and Jax and I were like, hey, make sure you listen to Darren and Deepa. They're a great show.
Amazing.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I would still say that. They're great people. We'll have nothing but great things to say about them. The reason is that they don't want you angry at the radio station or the TV station.
Yeah.
And they want to just move forward. And that's always sort of been the thing. The problem, though, in the social media era is back in the day, you needed that radio station or that television station to access your audience.
Yeah.
You did not have access to your own audience without them.
Yeah.
Now you're on that platform. You collect an audience. You collect a group of people that are like, hey, we really like that person. And they stick with you when you go.
Yeah.
And then they go, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And now you're under what, like a gag order, like a non-disclosure as to what happened. So TV and radio hosts often can't even talk about it.
Yeah. And you're looking for answers because a lot of times, like, hosts feel the same way with the listeners. Like it's like a little relationship. So it feels really abrupt when you leave. And a lot of time, viewers or listeners want answers. And it's not that the person doesn't want to give them to you. It's that they can't, right?
Well,
and that's hard.
And sometimes too, like you what's that? The don't explain, don't apologize, move on sort of thing, which is if a station issues an apology, or issues a statement, that means that people can coalesce and get mad at the station or the show or whatever for letting you go.
Yeah.
And if you go into the reasons explaining it, people are going to go, well, I don't agree with that reason. And I watch your show.
You're opening up a dialogue.
100%. Yeah. And I can remember, can I tell you something?
You can tell me anything.
I have the craziest story on this. The craziest story.
Exclusive, Stephanie.
I can't say the name, although you know this person quite well. I was on a prominent TV show for years. And it was a morning television show. And one of the most popular members of our cast was being let go.
Yep.
And I have to tell you, it's one of the most breathtakingly, this is the first time I've ever told this, breathtakingly poor decisions, and the way they handled it made it worse.
Yeah.
Because I was told that, first off, this person knew going into her final week. She knew. And I didn't know. I was like, C member of the cast, right? I was like, hello, I just come on. I pop on the screen, I'm happy, I do the entertainment, and I walk away, right?
And even like she wouldn't have been able to tell you anyway. Like usually,
no, but she apparently, like there were people that knew. Senior people that knew.
Yeah. But you're C-list.
And again, who cares what,
and your little
25-year-old, like in my little
so cute.
My little Ted Baker blazers going on screen. Here's what's happening in music. And so I get in there and I know the exact date. Because it's 5:30 in the morning and the executive producer comes over to me and goes, Adam, we got to chat. And I'm like, uh-oh, I thought I'd done something.
Yeah.
And he goes, and again, 5:30 in the morning. He goes, we are making a change. And I'm like, why did you make me wake up early? Like you could have just had me sleep in and then we could have done this there. I think I'm getting fired. And he goes, we're, so-and-so is leaving today.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean they're leaving? And he's like, well, there's been a break. And I was like, well, did their contract expire? He's like, no. I said, so whose decision is this? And he said, it's the parent company's.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I said, you're aware that it's April Fool's, right?
Yeah.
And this person had been with the show for 25 years.
Very loved member of the show. Yeah.
I said, so what? I said, so how's this going to go down? And he said, well, they're not going to be on the show today. They've already done their last day, which was the previous day.
Oh.
And we're going to put out a statement at 10 a.m. on Facebook. Again, Facebook mattered at this point. And I was like, it's April Fool's. It's April Fools.
Yeah.
We are the highest rated show in our category. Yeah. Everybody loves this person. And I said, it's April Fools. He said, it's out of my hands. This is not what I wanted at all. I had no interest. He's like, I've been on the record saying this is a mistake. And so this is why TV channels and radio channels don't issue statements. This is a perfect example of it right here. So they take we do the day, and we're getting tweets about where is this person? Because they're on every day and they're beloved. And nobody's saying anything, and everybody knows what's going on.
I had just moved here, and I remember seeing this go live. Yeah,
and then I leave the station because I had an afternoon radio show, and I leave, and I'm looking at, and all of a sudden, back then I had notifications sent to my phone, so Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where I would know if somebody commented because I wanted to reach out. Whatever, my notifications exploded at like 10:01.
Yeah.
And I look, and it's a bunch of people messaging me directly going, what's going on? DMs, Facebook Messenger, whatever you can imagine.
There was thousands of comments immediately on it. I remember that.
Yeah. So they post this at 10 a.m. And remember, April Fool's Day ends at noon. So they didn't wait till 1 o'clock. They did it at 10 a.m. April Fool's Day. Mega corporation, multi-billion-dollar corporation. Then over the weekend, what happens? Well, the two other prominent women on the network get absolutely shish kebabbed, torn to shreds, like ribbons, cut to ribbons by what happens online from this reaction. Yeah. And both of them have to come out and say, listen, I first off, I agree with you.
Yeah, it wasn't our decision.
It wasn't our decision. This is my friend.
Yeah.
And what it became about was, well, if I was going to let a woman go, it would be that one, not this one.
Yeah.
And
an attack.
So,
it would just
attack.
Be,
So then we get an email, all of us, Sunday at midday, because it's just apoplectic online. Like this is where TV and radio stations sometimes don't value the communities that they create. They expect you to come in as a listener and a viewer and want you to be loyal. And then when they do stuff like this, they're like, yeah, we don't have to be accountable to you.
And that Facebook page had that was when Facebook was wild.
It had like 500,000 likes.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Anyway, long story short, they're like, everybody cease and desist. Do not post anything on social media, because two people already had. Do not post anything on social media. So they haul us in on Monday after the show, all of us. And they have the PR. They have two corporate lawyers there. They have the head of media. They have everybody. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. Like I feel like I'm in trouble here. Like, we're all in trouble. What's going to happen? They're going to blow the show out, something like that. And the first thing out of lawyer's mouth is, you are not to comment on this publicly anymore. You're not to say a single word. And instantly, one of the prominent members of the staff, the on-air staff, goes, so what do you expect us to do? Yeah. What do you honestly expect us to do here? And I have to, God bless her, because that was balls. It took a lot of guts.
So you're putting us in you have put us in an incredibly hard position.
She said, you mishandled this.
We're front facing.
What's wrong with you? How did you not see this coming? And so the PR staff, who didn't even bother to show up to the meeting, but conference called them in, they had done this particular position at this show was a repeated show, meaning that the brand existed in multiple markets across the country. And I don't believe it does anymore, but back then it did. And they eliminated that position from every one of the shows because they were cutting costs. And so they eliminated the one in Vancouver. They eliminated the one in Calgary. They eliminated the one in Montreal. And the PR person was like, I don't understand why it went this way in Toronto, because we did this across the country with all the other hosts on the same one and did it the exact same way. And there were absolutely no issues. Nobody complained. But for whatever reason in Toronto, everybody's losing their mind. Yeah. As if all the viewers and listeners who watch that show are crazy, not the PR staff. And then this prominent member of the staff steps up and says, that is because you're not paying attention, you don't watch the show, and you have no idea the impact this person had on our audience. Yeah. And by the way, you threw us out there this morning without any cover, with no way to address this scenario.
Naked and vulnerable.
Yeah. So anyway, that was, and I was like, welcome to TV. It was one of the most dramatic things. So I know I didn't expect it to go there, but isn't that nuts?
You just wanted to wear your little rental blazers and mind your business.
I know. Here's the thing with the Ted Baker clothes is they gave me the clothes and then I'd have to give them back.
I know. You couldn't keep those. I remember though, it was like my first month here in Toronto and I was like, whoa.
It was crazy.
Cool. All right. This is quite a, it was a huge stir. It was
ever experienced anything like it.
Wylde with the inside tea. I mean, no, I love a good juicy story. And your feet moved in so many different ways while you were telling the stories. I knew that we were on the cusp of a big reveal, Adam. And I remember, I don't think a lot of people know about that. So I remember how effective it was. Yeah.
Jax, somebody asked.
Look, now he's getting blushy.
Wasn't Jax moving back to Nova Scotia or was that just a fever dream?
No, actually, there was a lot of confusion around that. When we left Virgin, I had said that I'm going to be doing some traveling, and I think people thought I was moving back to Nova Scotia. I think, though, that brings up an interesting point because a lot of people think I live in Nova Scotia, which I don't. Somebody said, welcome to Ontario yesterday. And I understand fully why people think I live in Nova Scotia is because all I do is talk about it and I'm really homesick all the time. But I do love Toronto. I live in Toronto. I'm staying in Toronto. I go back and forth maybe one day. I'll be, 6 and 6, 6 months here, 6 months there. But for now, I'm with Adam Wylde in hot, smelly Toronto.
From Sandy, what fictional character do you most identify with?
Tuxedo Mask.
From Taylor Sailor Moon.
Fighting evil by
Tuxedo Mask has always been like a thing for you. Why?
Because I don't know, man. He's cute. No, he was the first. He was the first character I saw that made me think, I don't know if I'm a regular girl.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I was just like
regular girl.
I don't know. I was like, I want to wear his tuxedo. And I remember, I don't know if I've ever told you this. I used to use my nanny's cane. She was dead. And I used to use my nanny's cane in my basement and I would wear my father's old blazer. And I would move and it was like a snow cane. So it had like the ice pick at the bottom. So it was quite heavy. And I would move it around. And I thought I was a Tuxedo Mask with my dead grandmother's cane and my father's blazer in the basement. And now looking back, I would move it and I was like, I'm a gentleman.
Out of the closet Jax is my favorite.
Now looking back, that is incredible gender confusion. I was just like,
you're also just playing dress up.
I was like, I want to kiss Sailor Moon.
So you wanted to be Tuxedo Mask and kiss Sailor Moon.
We can call
him. It wasn't Sailor Mercury or Sailor Mars. It was Sailor Moon.
Not even Sailor Venus.
Wow.
What about you, Adam?
Fictional character I most identify with. It's a really hard one. That's why
Johnny Bravo.
I was Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. Johnny Bravo.
If Johnny Bravo had a kid and probably could get back to the gym.
I don't know. You wear stop it. You're beautiful. You wear cool black shirts and
yes, because I'm trying to cover the fact that I put on a little too much weight.
Listen, and your hair's not high enough, but you do kind of have a superhero face.
Do I have a superhero face?
Yeah.
Most people just say I have a big forehead. So I appreciate that.
Listen,
somebody commented on one of my Instagram videos the other day and they're like, yo, man, your forehead is huge. I'm like, buddy, my forehead's awesome. Listen, I'm showing it off.
Yeah.
You got to flaunt what you got.
Yeah.
And I got a monster.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of real estate there. I'm proud of that.
You know what? In this economy, you take what you can get. And also a lot of space to tan this summer.
100%. Yeah. Just put a solar panel on it. You're great. Power your iPhone. You're good.
I love you.
Listen. So before we go, last minute recommendation, what should we do? Music, movie, whatever. It can't be the apple pies at the Apple place. You can't say that.
No, it's too busy there. I started watching last night as I was falling asleep. The Quilters on Netflix is a documentary about this group of gentlemen who build beautiful quilts for foster children in prison. And they have a quilting club in prison. It's this Netflix documentary.
You were probably crying. Knowing you were probably so emotional.
It doesn't matter, Adam.
You cried
yourself
to sleep.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful that they don't know how long they'll be there, but they are still helping the community.
I'm going to give you a trashy one because I love trashy ones.
Yeah.
My wife is always watching trashy TV, so it's always on in the background.
Oh yeah,
and I fully cop to the fact that I will watch it too.
Whoops.
But while I was prepping the outline for this show last night, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was playing in the background.
God. And girl, you're late. Oh yeah, the new season's out. Yeah,
crazy.
It is chaos,
and they all came from TikTok.
Yeah,
and they're openly talking about how they used to go to parties with their friends.
Yeah.
and put masks on and then just make them be like, whose husband is this?
Oh, they're
I was like,
messy.
what the fuck?
They are messy. Listen, closer you get to Utah, the messier it gets, I always say. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They are messy.
It's great. You need to watch it.
That's not a saying.